Hey guitar nerds, Brad from simpleguitar.com here. Now imagine this, you've picked up guitar after probably years of dreaming about it, but now you're stuck strumming the same old cowboy chords over and over, feeling like you're playing stuck in a rut. Flat, predictable, and honestly a little boring, right? I remember my own early days of playing guitar, sitting in my room at night, frustrated because every song I tried sounded like a campfire sing-along, not the rich, captivating music that I heard in my head. But then I discovered what I call magic chords. These open, lush chord shapes that instantly elevate your sound to something beautiful and intriguing without needing years of practice. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how these easy to grab chord shapes are movable all over the fretboard. They give you endless options for arranging songs, writing your own tunes, or even improvising on the spot. Right? These are going to break you out of that beginner slump, make your guitar sing with depth and emotion, and best of all, they'll strengthen your hand to tackle those intimidating bar chords that you're going to need to tackle down the line. So stick around because by the end, you're going to be sounding like a pro and feeling unstoppable. So let's dive in. All right, so first of all, what are magic chords? These chords are going to be in the key of E major or C sharp minor, okay? We're not going to go into a ton of theory behind it, but all of these chords are in one of those keys. And they're going to utilize your open first string and second string. And they work on acoustic, and I will also pull up an electric and show you. They work on either one, and they sound fantastic. Also, I'll show you how you can use these with a capo to change keys. Now, your first chord is just an E major chord, right? First finger on the first fret of your third string, your third finger on the second fret of your fourth string, and your second finger on the second fret of your fifth string, and your other three strings are open. But to do this, what I want you to do is actually take your first finger out, and I want you to swap out for your second finger on the first fret of your third string, your pinky on the second fret of your fourth string, and your third finger on the second fret of your fifth string. So now you're making an E major chord, but you're using your second, third, and fourth fingers. Trust me, this is going to be handy, okay? So that's your first chord. Now your second chord is an F sharp minor. Now normally an F sharp minor is a bar chord and you have to play with a bar, and that can be hard, but this is going to be way easier. So here's what we're going to do. From your E chord, you're going to slide your hand up 2 frets. So now your third and fourth finger are on the fourth fret of your fifth string and your fourth string. And then what I want you to do is take your first finger and put it on the second fret of your third string, and then you can strum all 6 strings if you want. Or you can just strum 5 strings. Either way works, but this is an F sharp minor chord. Now, right now, that's all you have to worry about is that this is F sharp minor. Okay, this is the second chord in the key, and it's F sharp minor. The full fancy name of this is F sharp minor 11. But all you need to know is that it's an F sharp minor. It's the second chord in the key. That's it. So far we have E, we have F sharp minor. Now, what I would recommend doing with each of these chords is as we go through them, you could try some different picking patterns with them. You could strum all of them. And you can just see how they sound. I want you to experiment with these. Tired of sloppy chord changes and feeling like a perpetual beginner? You don't have to be. Join a simple, personalized coaching program with me today at simpleguitar.com/apply. Now let's go back to the lesson. Now our third chord is the same shape as our F sharp minor, okay? So we're going to slide this shape up 2 more frets. So now your third finger is on the the 6th fret of your 5th string. Your pinky's on the 6th fret of your 4th string. And your first finger is on the 4th fret of your 3rd string. And then your first and second are open, and you can also play your 6th string open, and we get this. And this is a G sharp minor chord, okay, which is the third chord in the key. Now this one is technically a G sharp minor flat 6, but that doesn't matter. All you have to know is that it's G sharp minor. Again, you could take that and just play around with your E chord and your F sharp minor chord. You could just see how cool these chords sound, and they give you a lot of cool options for stuff. So let's go on to our next chord. For our next chord, from your G sharp minor chord, here's what you're going to do. I want you to slide your hand up 1 fret. So now your 3rd and 4th finger are on the 7th fret of your 5th and 4th strings. But I want you to put your 2nd finger down on the 6th fret of that 3rd string, and then bring your 1st finger over, and you're going to play just the 5th fret on your 6th string. You're not going to play any other strings. So if you look, my 1st finger is not pressed down, barring everything. It's curled up over my strings, okay? And then 1st and 2nd string are still open. So this is a beautiful A chord without doing a full bar. Now, technically, this is an A add 9. And the hardest part with all of these chords, probably, but especially this one, is making sure that your fingers are curled up and that you're not accidentally touching a string that you don't want to touch, to make sure all your strings sound out. Now, here's the cool thing. For your 5th chord, this is the 4th chord. For the 5th chord, we're going to take this exact same shape where we're on 5, 7, 7, 6, and we're going to slide up 2 more frets. So we're on 7, 9, 9, and 8. Okay. And this is now a B chord. This is a B at 11. Okay. So this is a B major. We have an A major. We have a G sharp minor. We have an F sharp minor. And we have E major. So all of these sound like they belong together. So take a second, pause right now, and try some different combinations of these 5 chords. Because you could take your E chord and come up to this B, and go down to F sharp, and back up to A, and then G sharp, and then E. Right, you can just try all sorts of different combinations, and you're going to be able to do some really cool sounding things with these chords. All right, now from your B chord, for the 6th chord, we're going to go up 2 more frets. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the same minor shape that we did for F sharp minor and G sharp minor. So I want your 3rd and 4th fingers on the 11th fret of your 5th string and your 4th string. And then your 1st finger is going to play the 9th fret on your 3rd string. And we have, and this is now a C sharp minor 7 chord. Doesn't that sound awesome? Now, here's the cool thing, though. These aren't all the chords, but the awesome thing is even with just these 6 chords, you can start playing some awesome stuff. Now, you can use these for any song that's already in the key of E, but you could also transpose a song into the key of E just so that you can use these awesome chords. So take a minute. Try combining these 6 chords in whatever order you want, with whatever strumming you want, with whatever picking you want. Try some different ideas. I have another way that you can play C sharp minor 7. Now this one's awesome. This is just like a power chord. So what we're going to do is take your 1st finger and it goes on the 4th fret of your 5th string. And then you're going to put your 3rd finger on the 6th fret of your 4th string. And then your pinky goes on the 6th fret of your 3rd string. And you're going to play just 5 strings. Now for this one, that's all it is. This is just like playing a regular 3-string power chord. You just got to make sure your first 2 strings are open, right? Now, I've done another video with this chord in it where we talked about this shape. You could take this shape and you can move it around and you can do all sorts of cool stuff. We'll talk about that more in just a minute. Now, for the next chord, we have another A chord that you can play. And this one is called an A major 9. So what we're going to do is from the C sharp minor 7 chord, you're just going to lift up on your 1st finger, leave your 3rd and 4th finger on the 6th fret of your 3rd and 4th strings, and you're going to play your 5th string open with it now. And this is your A major 9 chord. Now, that right there, that change from C sharp minor 7 to A major 9. This is a super cool sounding That's a super cool sounding chord change, right? In fact, I even took these 2 chords and wrote a song. verse is just these two chords alternating. And so you could do the same thing. You can take those two chords and just play with them. And just try them out. You can do all sorts of fun stuff. Now, one more thing is if we go from that C sharp minor chord, that power chord shape, we can scoot that down 2 frets. So we're on 2 and 4 now. And this is a B chord. In fact, it's a B sus4. So this is a different kind of B that you can play. So we have C sharp minor 7, we have A, we have B. And I'm going to show you one more with this too. This is a trick one. You're going to slide this power chord shape that we use for this B and for C sharp minor 7. We're going to go all the way up to 7 and 9 and play all 6 strings because that makes it an E chord. And with all these chords, the cool thing is you can just mess with them and you can come up with all sorts of cool combinations. Now, because these chords are all in the same key, they're gonna sound good together, right? You can try them out and just see what different combinations you like. Now, just like with the power chord shape, how we moved it around to a B, you can move it up to E. You could really try like a D chord right there on 5 and 7. You can try all sorts of different things. You can move all of these shapes around. And same thing with that A major 9 shape. You can move that down to your 4th fret, still an A chord, 2nd fret, that's an A sus2. You can go up to 9 even, still an A chord. So for example, I could play this E power chord shape, and then lift up my 1st finger and it's an A chord. And then go down to C sharp minor 7, and then lift up my 1st finger. See, and it's just easy to come up with all sorts of cool stuff. Now, one of my favorite things to do with this is when I get asked to go play somewhere and it's just me and acoustic guitar, just accompanying myself, singing some songs, right? I like to take songs that you wouldn't normally hear like this and then play them with these chords and make it sound totally different. Now, on top of that, once you get these chords down and you're feeling comfortable with playing with them, the next thing I want you to do, apart from just like trying them out and coming up with your own chord progressions and going, okay, I'm going to go from E to C sharp minor to A to B, and trying out different stuff like that, I want you to try improvising with them. That means you have to know the chords really well, be able to change between them, but then I want you to make it up off the top of your head, right? You could start with your E chord. And just try all sorts of different stuff, because the cool thing is when I'm just like hanging out and there's a guitar around, one of my favorite things to do is just make up whatever off the top of my head with these chords, with different picking patterns, different strum patterns. Just go wild with it. Your imagination is your only limit with these chords. They're awesome. Now, you can also use these with a capo. If you use a capo, this is your new 0, and you can do the same chord shapes. can transpose songs into different keys and still use these chord shapes, because especially if you're just playing by yourself, these sound so rich and full that it makes it sound way better. So those are the first group of magic chords that I like to teach people. And this is the kind of stuff that we do in my community, the Guitar Nerds community, because each week we do like 3 hours of classes where we're going over different stuff like this. So if you'd like to be a part of that, you can join as well. In fact, you can even do private coaching with me. I know for years I've had people ask, hey, Brad, do you teach lessons? Can I do private lessons with you? And I am now. I'm doing private coaching. You can join my coaching program, the Simply Confident Guitar Coaching, by going to simpleguitar.com/apply. In that program, I'm going to help you get out of feeling like a perpetual beginner, get out of feeling stuck with everything. And stuff like these chords are some of the things that we go over to help you break out and finally feel confident about your guitar playing and proud of whatever you hear when you play. So if that sounds interesting to you and sounds like something that you would be into, then go to simpleguitar.com/apply and take the first step there. Now, I will see you in this next lesson. Go have fun with these chords, and I'll see you in the next one.